Workplace safety rules aren't just guidelines printed in a manual. They're lessons paid for in sweat, blood, and experience. Every rule you see on a poster, in a handbook, or hanging on a wall exists because somewhere someone got hurt, or worse. Today, we're digging deep into what workplace safety rules really are, why they exist, and why following them isn't about ticking a box, it's about protecting lives. Let's start with the basics. Workplace safety rules are the agreed-upon procedures and behaviors designed to prevent incidents, injuries, and fatalities. They cover everything from how you handle hazardous materials, to how you lift heavy objects, to how you report a hazard when you see it. They're the invisible net that keeps workplaces functioning. Without them, chaos wins. But let's be honest, sometimes rules can feel like a hassle, a slowdown. Why do I have to wear this heavy gear? Why do I need to lock out this machine? Why do I have to report that wet floor? Because history has already answered those questions, in pain. Because every safety rule is a response to a real-world incident, a reminder carved into regulations after something went terribly wrong. Let's break down some of the most common types of workplace safety rules you might encounter. First, PPE rules. Personal protective equipment, hard hats, safety glasses, steel-toed boots, harnesses, gloves. PPE is the last line of defense in the hierarchy of controls. They're used when, other controls can't fully eliminate the hazard. Wearing PPE isn't optional, it's what stands between you and a hospital visit, or something even worse. Second, equipment safety rules. Lockout and tagout procedures, machine guarding, equipment maintenance schedules. These rules exist because moving parts don't forgive mistakes. High-speed belts, rotating shafts, heavy presses, they're built to perform work, not to yield to human error. One missed lockout can cost a limb or a life. Countless real-world incidents have proven this. Take, for example, the 2019 case at a meat processing facility in the United States. A worker performing maintenance on a conveyor belt was pulled into the machinery because proper lockout or tagout procedures were skipped. The result? Catastrophic injuries that led to a lifetime of medical complications and a legal settlement that cost the company millions. Equipment safety rules aren't just steps in a procedure, they're actually critical shields between workers and unforgiving machinery. Whether it's locking out a system, installing proper machine guards, or following maintenance schedules to the letter, these rules turn dangerous tasks into manageable, controlled operations. Respect the equipment, and follow the rules, because machines won't pause to give you a second chance. Third, chemical and hazard communication rules. Labels, safety data sheets, proper storage and handling procedures. In 1984, the Bhopal disaster in India killed thousands when a methyl isocyanate gas leak escaped from a pesticide plant. The tragedy was fueled by multiple safety failures, ignored maintenance warnings, disabled alarm systems, cost-cutting measures, and poor emergency response planning. It remains one of the worst industrial disasters in history, a devastating reminder of why chemical safety procedures, hazard communication, and rigorous maintenance standards are not negotiable in any workplace. Chemical safety rules exist to prevent silent killers from stealing lives without warning. Fourth, general behavior rules. Reporting hazards immediately. Maintaining clean and clear work areas. Following safe lifting techniques. Practicing good housekeeping. And staying alert to your surroundings. These aren't just common sense measures, they are critical pillars that support every other safety system in your workplace. Small choices add up to big consequences. Ignoring a wet floor might seem minor until someone slips, falls, and suffers a life-altering injury. Leaving a piece of equipment in a walkway might seem harmless, until it causes a trip and fall that puts a coworker out of work for months. Rushing past a caution wet floor sign might shave off a few seconds, but it could cost you months in recovery time. Let's consider a 2021 warehouse incident in Germany, where an improperly stacked pallet ended up blocking an emergency exit. During a fire drill, workers trying to evacuate were delayed, and honestly, if it had been a real fire, those few lost seconds could have meant lives lost. General behavior rules are really the thread that weaves everything together. PPE, equipment safety, chemical handling, honestly, none of it matters if people aren't practicing safe habits every minute of every shift. Safety doesn't live only in big systems and high-tech gear, it lives in everyday actions, in eyes that stay alert. It's in hands that put things away properly. And it's in feet that choose safe paths instead of shortcuts. Real safety begins with real behavior by every worker every single day. Now let's talk about something important. Safety rules are living documents. They evolve, they adapt, and they respond to new technologies, new materials, and new risks. After every major incident, whether it's an industrial explosion, a construction collapse, or a warehouse fire, new lessons are learned. And new rules are written. For example, after the 1992 Westray mine disaster in Nova Scotia, Canada, where 26 miners were killed in an underground methane explosion caused by poor ventilation and ignored safety warnings, sweeping changes were introduced to mining safety regulations, worker protection laws, and corporate accountability measures across Canada. Globally, the International Labour Organization estimates that up to 80% of workplace incidents are tied directly to rule violations or failures to enforce safety standards. 80%. That means most tragedies could be prevented simply by respecting the systems already in place. Now you might wonder, if the rules are there, why do people break them? The answer isn't always malice. Sometimes it's complacency. Sometimes it's pressure to move faster, sometimes it's ignorance, not knowing the rule even exists. But here's the truth. Ignoring a safety rule is kinda like ignoring a warning label on a parachute. You might get away with it once, maybe twice, heck, maybe even 100 times, but eventually you won't. Safety rules aren't obstacles, they're actually lifelines. Following them isn't just about being careful, it's really about being professional. It's about respecting yourself, your coworkers, and your family waiting for you at home. And let's be clear. Following safety rules isn't someone else's job, it's not just the supervisor's responsibility. And honestly, it's not just the safety department's checklist. It's yours. When you choose to respect the rules, you're choosing leadership, you're setting a standard, you're showing the people around you that safety isn't a burden, it's a badge of honor. Because real leadership isn't about titles, degrees, or letters behind your name, it's about actions. Let me leave you with this challenge. The next time you see a safety rule, on a sign, in a manual, during a meeting, don't just see ink on paper. See the lives saved, see the pain avoided, see the futures protected. And, make a choice, follow the rule, honor the lesson behind it. Because honestly, every safety rule you follow isn't just protecting you, it's protecting everyone counting on you. If this message resonates with you, go ahead and drop a comment below. Tell us one safety rule you're committed to respecting, and why it matters to you. And if you're ready to be part of a community that doesn't just talk safety but really lives it, just hit that subscribe button. Because at Safety Smart HQ, we know that safety isn't about slowing down, it's about lifting everyone up. One worker, one rule, one choice at a time. See you in the next video.